The campfire. We've all been there, whether an actual campfire or just listening to someone tell a great story. As humans, we've always had the ability and desire to suspend our disbelief. If only for a few minutes a day, we want to escape from the treadmill of life and give it up, to be immersed in something outside ourselves.
We have this opportunity to be storytellers, to be able to give the consumer the opportunity to lose themselves in a world for as long or as little as they want. We have the realities of life every day, whether it's the economy or whether it's getting by or whether it's a job and earning money, but we have a medium that we can lose ourselves in.
Day-to-day life isn't always that exciting, and if at the end of the day you can turn on a tablet, a PC, a console, and just kind of escape into another world, I think it's a wonderful thing that essentially allows you to kind of live the dream.
The storytelling in games is just as good as movies. It's just as good as reading a book.
With the resurrection and renaissance of the industry coming into the 90s and early 2000s, games began another evolutionary step forward: story. This fundamentally changed the audience's expectations of what a good game really was and raised the bar for game designers everywhere.
Storytelling in games is a tricky beast to tame. As game makers, we have to set up rules. We have to set up universes that make sense and have their own sense of logic. And once we've established what that logic is, then we let the player's mind and imagination solve problems and work their way through those worlds.
I think one of the things we've really learned over the last maybe decade is ways to tell stories without a cutscene, without stopping the interactivity, to have the story be something that emerges from the play itself.
Video games are a lean-forward experience, whereas film and television are a lean-back experience. You're driving every moment of the game. A friend of mine a while back actually compared games to novels, and the fact that if you stop reading, the novel doesn't keep going, and video games are very much the same.
Telling a story in video games can be a lot more difficult, because then you have to anticipate the actions of the player. Whereas in a movie, you decide what both characters say, and then you write it down, and that's what they say.
Storytelling in games is an interesting problem right now because we don't fully understand it. The movie industry has been around for 100 years or whatever, and they have a really good idea of what it means to tell story in that kind of visual medium. And the game industry doesn't have all those rules yet.
Either reading a book or watching a movie, it's completely passive. You're letting the storyteller give you their vision of their world or whatever story they want to tell you, and you're listening to it. It's unfolding for you. You're not affecting that. With a game, the journey is the reward more than, say, the ending or the payoff.